Been a couple weeks. We've all been traveling. There's been a lot up. Arthur Aidala has been on the road. He's back. New York trial attorney. He's well known in the legal field. He's got a show on AM 970 The Answer Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. called the Arthur Aidala Power Hour. Arthur, hopes were high that the judge in Fulton County, Georgia, would see the obvious corruption and conflicts and bias with Fani Willis, but instead, nope. She gets to stay as long as her lover, Nathan Wade, gets kicked to the curb. What's your legal interpretation of what Judge McAfee ruled on today, Arthur?
Well, she could get kicked to the curb if some crazy reason they decide to keep the special prosecutor on, Wade. I doubt that's going to happen. He said one of them has to go. You both can't stay together. Look, the judge is 34 years old. What a pickle he's in. You know, someone's running against him. He did give an interview, the judge did, after his opponent, it was announced that someone was running against him, saying what's most important to me is that my little kids who now don't know what's going on, when they grow up, that they know their dad played it straight. And I want everyone to know I have already written the opinion and made my decision before anyone was running against me. So he wants to make it clear, whether you believe him or not, I will choose to believe him, that his judgeship being in jeopardy did not influence this decision. He did rule that there was an appearance of impropriety. He doesn't have to find that there was impropriety, but an appearance of impropriety. He did rule that there was, and I hate to use this term, but he split the baby. He's like, all right, look, nobody thought, Mike, that he was ever going to throw out the whole indictment. The worst case scenario for the prosecutor and the best case scenario for Trump and Giuliani was he was going to say, Willis, your whole office is disqualified. I am assigning the neighboring prosecutor to take over this case. That prosecutor would have asked for at least a 6-month, if not 9-month adjournment to figure out what's going on. And then they could have analyzed the case and say, we're dismissing the indictment. We don't think that there's enough here. So that's no longer the case. But you have to expect some sort of a significant delay, because the lead prosecutor here, Mr. Wade, is gone. Someone's got to step into his shoes. And believe me, Mike, this is not a case you just pick up the file. It's a case of first impression, never been done before. You don't just pick up the file and say, okay, I'm ready to pick a jury. So, we represent Rudy Giuliani. So on Mayor Giuliani's behalf, I hope this thing gets kicked down the road as far as possible. And sometimes through the defense of inertia, you get the result that you want. You just let things play their course in something that's so ridiculous as this case is, and you're just hopeful that it goes away one way or the other.
Speaking of delays, in your backyard in New York, Alvin Bragg has agreed to a delay in the court case against Trump in New York City. And I guess this is over the I lose track. This is the hush money thing, right? This is the Stormy Daniels story. Yeah, which incidentally the feds looked at, said there's nothing there. We're not going to charge. But Alvin Bragg's steam whirled ahead anyway. Who was that a victory for this week when Bragg agreed to go along with a 30-day delay? Was that a win for him, or was that a win for Trump and his team?
I think it's a win for President Trump. I think the closer you get to Election Day, and the polls showing that he's leading, and the closer you get to it looking like Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States, I think the will of the people, who support him, which, by the way, are not in Manhattan, but are going to be really incensed by this. I mean, the problem is, in Manhattan, there's 88% of the electorate voted against him. And that's why I think it's impossible for Donald Trump to get a fair trial here. I really do. I believe there's already been a change of venue motion. But I would say any delay here to getting Donald Trump closer to the presidency is a victory for Donald Trump.
Arthur, you and I have spoken about this many times, but it bears repeating. The phrase lawfare has come up a lot, the weaponization of the courts, selective prosecution. I hear that phrase a lot with the Trump legal team. This is selectively prosecuting Donald Trump. I am appalled at seeing the way Trump has the deck stacked against him. Judge McAfee's decision is the latest confirmation of that. I keep saying it. He doesn't stand a chance in the courts, does he, Arthur?
Not in this jurisdiction. Maybe with Florida, where there's the state case with the files, or I don't know, in certain neighboring, and that's what they were hoping for, neighboring jurisdictions in Georgia. I don't think in D.C. he stands a chance, or in New York he stands a chance. And you're right, Mike, but let me just end my segment this week by saying, as appalled as you are about that, the American people should be appalled about other unpopular, because half the country, or whatever, a third, Donald Trump is unpopular, about the way other unpopular defendants are treated, whether it's Bill Cosby, whether it's Harvey Weinstein, whether it's Ghislaine Maxwell, or Donald Trump. We can't live in a society that is ruled by opinion polls and popularity contests. So that if Donald Trump was very, very popular, let's say his name was Barack Obama, none of these charges will be brought. But because he's not, they are brought. And you can say that about some of these other people. The rule of law has to apply to everyone, from someone who's been made the number one villain in the country, Harvey Weinstein, to, and again, there are parts of the world like Manhattan where Donald Trump is the number one enemy. The rules need to apply to all Americans. That's what makes this country better than every other country. That's what makes our system better than every other system. It's supposed to be equal protection under the laws. And Mike, we all have to fight for that.
We appreciate your clarity so much. Find the Arthur Aidala Power Hour podcast wherever you get podcasts. Tune in on am970theanswer.com for the Power Hour. Arthur, keep fighting the good fight. Nice to check in with you, my friend.
Get best, boss.